Why hello, my fairy tale things. If you can't tell, I really love the Shrek movies, and I'm really excited for the release of Shrek 5. And on this channel, we've been kind of slowly but surely counting down the release of Shrek 5 by looking at various news, rumors, and leaks regarding the film. Now, the format we've been doing this is I kind of wait for a lot of stuff to happen, and then, I've had the big bucket of leaks I dig around in, and I read the various leaks and rumors. Go watch those old videos if you haven't. There's some pretty interesting stuff in there. But today, we don't have a lot of news on Shrek 5. There's only been one leak, and it's a supposed story leak. And I wasn't even gonna comment on this, because I figured there wasn't a lot to say that I didn't say in those previous videos. Well, the internet does what it does, and it's kind of gotten itself into a bit of a tizzle, just like the teaser trailer that was released. I remember when that trailer came out, I was shocked at the online reaction. And we're kind of in a similar situation now where a rumor has popped up that's got a lot of people saying, oh no, Shrek 5 is not looking good. It is not good. So I figured as a voice in the Shrek community that, I know some things about our beloved ogre. I would offer my perspective on the recent Shrek rumors that have been going around. So I want to start off by just reading the leak completely from the text itself. And yes, this leak does come from the same leaker that we've been covering in a lot of the videos. Just type in Shrek on Twitter and you'll find the leak. It's very common. I will say this, it's an easy to find leak for sure. People have really circulated it around. And the leak says Shrek's daughter, played by Zendaya, and yes, Zendaya is misspelled in the leak, I'm just reading it as is, practices magic and accidentally transports Shrek and Donkey to the real world. And now they must find a way back because she doesn't know the spell to bring them home. Yes, you heard that correctly. Shrek going into the real world, the human world, the one you and I reside in and collect Shrek stuff. And I'm just going to flat out say that I think this leak is 100% correct. Yes, you heard it. I am actually saying it's correct because if you think about it, there is not a lot of new information in this leak. I believe in my previous rumors video, I actually said that the plot was gonna be Shrek going into the real world. Does that make me some sort of insider leaker? But the writing for this was kind of on the wall when that very first teaser dropped with the memes. Now, some people online were saying that the memes themselves was just a fun gag for the teaser, but if you know me, I'm a guy that reads way too much into the Shrek universe, and I kind of figured that those memes would play a crucial part in the film itself. And those memes depict the character Shrek as an icon, like as an animated icon. You'll notice that the memes in the trailer use the classic Shrek design as opposed to the redesign in the actual film. And I always assumed that was intentional. The memes are based on the classic Shrek design, and Shrek has a new design, and that is part of the meta plot itself, that it would be a meta film. DreamWorks has been saying for years that this film was going to be a bit of a reinvention with Shrek, that it was going to be something totally different. So from those memes, we could figure out that it was going to be a meta, multiverse-style film. And another thing that led me to this conclusion, and I also believe, I'm getting such deja vu, I believe I did talk about this in my last video, Kung Fu Panda 4. Its original plot was Po and Zen, I believe that's the Fox character, played by Awkwafina, they were going to go into the real world, the human world. And Zen wasn't a fox, I think she was a human in the original outline. And this film was far into production, and for whatever reason, they reset back to ground zero. And that's why Kung Fu Panda 4 felt so kind of rushed, is that it was. They changed the film significantly. And I had speculated that they had changed the plot of that film, not because it wasn't working, but maybe because it was working too well, that they wanted to save it for the Shrek franchise. Because it's more interesting to see how Shrek would react in the human world as opposed to how Po would react in the human world, for whatever reason. Because, Shrek's a meme icon. There's a lot you could do there. And that's what I want to kind of bring this full circle into with my discussion today. Is Shrek 5 going to be cringe? Like, are we going to get a meme fest of Shrek and Donkey in the real world laughing at themselves? And yes, I think it is. And I'll tell you why. And that's that Shrek 5 as a movie is more of a product than a film. It has a lot to accomplish as a movie. The Shrek world is huge. You have 4 movies of characters. You have a ton of characters. And I'm not just talking about the basic, Shrek, Fiona, Gingy, and the fairy tale friends. Think of Charming and Harold and Lillian, and then the Donkey babies and the ogre babies. And as each Shrek movie goes on, we get more and more characters. Most people probably didn't even see Shrek 4, which added all the other ogres in the universe. And yes, they are implied to be alive, as we see in that credits scene, but that's a discussion for another time. The point I'm making is that Shrek 5 as a movie has to reintroduce the world of Shrek to general audiences. And that's tough to do, because me and you, the person watching this, we're obviously Shrek-crazed nutcases that know everything about the Shrek world, right? The average person on the street, they really don't remember Shrek. A lot of people dropped off after Shrek the Third. It's in the box office numbers, and both Puss in Boots movies, despite receiving critical acclaim and being praised by animation enthusiasts, I think they're 2 of the greatest films of all time, but the general public did not go to see the Puss in Boots movies like they did for the Shrek movies. So now you have Kitty Softpaws and Perito and all the Puss in Boots characters as part of the Shrek world. You can't, pretend they don't exist, because that would alienate the diehards, and from a branding perspective, it would also be weird, because those characters are used at the Universal parks. And this film needs to reintroduce Shrek to mainstream audiences and not overwhelm them. It's kind of like a Star Wars Force Awakens thing. If you remember, Force Awakens was so stripped down for a movie. I remember being shocked seeing it the first time that it didn't really reference the prequels a lot. Because I grew up with the Star Wars prequels, and I really thought they were going to reference them more. But they didn't even reference the regular trilogy as much. They kind of just slowly introduced elements of Star Wars. A little hint of Darth Vader here, a little hint of, C-3PO, R2-D2 cameo here. And now if you look at how Disney is handling Star Wars, they're all in on the deep lore. We're getting all sorts of stuff from the prequels, Order 66, Clone Wars, Mandalore. It's overwhelming to me as a casual. I don't know Star Wars like I used to as a kid, and it's like, wow, they're really digging deep in the lore. And Shrek will get there when the franchise continues, hopefully. Hopefully this movie makes a lot of money like Force Awakens. We will get into all of the Shrek deep lore. But I think Shrek 5 is going to be a very stripped down movie. You're going to have Shrek, you're going to have Donkey, Fiona, Felicia, played by Zendaya. That's how you get the kids in the audience. That's the next generation, right? And then I think Fergus and Farkle will have reduced roles. They'll be in there. And that's already a lot of characters. You have your bad guy, who I have speculated as Lord Farquaad, and I still am sticking true to that prediction, that it is Lord Farquaad. And that is already a lot of characters. So you're thinking, okay, how do you take all these characters and drop them into Shrek's world and not overwhelm people? Well, you throw them into a world that isn't Shrek's world, something that's more familiar, like our world. This is going to be like Star Trek: The Voyage Home. Have you ever seen that movie? That's the one with the whales. That's a great film, actually. I'm going to recommend you watch a Star Trek movie, and I'm a casual Trekkie. I don't know a ton about Star Trek. I only grew up with the Kelvin movies. Good Lord. But The Voyage Home is a great film. You've got Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Chekhov, the main crew members visiting Earth, and it's present-day Earth. Of course, from their point of view, they're going back in time. From our point of view, the audience, it's modern-day Earth. And it's kind of a fish-out-of-water plot. It's very fun and interesting to see how the characters react to our world. And what strikes me about that movie is the premise sounds really boring. Imagine Star Trek, but instead of space, they're going to regular day Earth, and they're going to go save whales. That is a very boring plot when you explain it to someone. They're like, no, I want the Star Trek world. But the movie does an exceptional job with what they're given. It's a great character study, especially Kirk. Some of the Kirk scenes in that film are great. And I'm hoping that this Shrek movie is like the Star Trek: The Voyage Home for Shrek. Is that making any sense? Because when you have the human world and you have just those key characters, Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, Felicia, you can really spend time with them. As opposed, you don't have Gingy or Pinocchio. Those characters will be there in the movie, but they won't be given the main focus. So I think it'll be a smaller scale movie, because I think it's about reintroducing Shrek to mainstream audiences. And is that going to be cringe? Yes. Yes, it is. You're going to see Shrek playing Fortnite. There may even be a Shrek Fortnite collaboration. And speaking of leaks and rumors, That has been rumored for years. Everyone's been saying there's a Shrek X Fortnite collab, and I've just been like on the edge of my seat wondering where the heck that is. So maybe they're saving that for this film. I think you'll get all of the meme references you want out of that movie. We're gonna get chicken jockey, chicken donkey, I am Shrek. Yeah, it'll be dated the day it comes out, because the movie's in production now, so all the memes they reference in the movie will be like 2 years old by the time the film comes out, but maybe that will add to the charm. We're kind of in a weird age where people love this kind of like ironic meme culture stuff. I mean, people flock to the Minecraft movie, and people in Hollywood are going to take notice. They're going to see that Minecraft money and go, oh, we need some of that. Make Shrek more like that, more surreal. There's the word I'm looking for, surreal. I think it's going to be a very surreal film. And finally, you know, if you think about it, Shrek has always been surreal and cringy because the idea of, okay, hear me out. The idea of Shrek going into the human world is not as far-fetched when you consider that Shrek's world was similar to our world in 2004. Far, far away is just Los Angeles. Trust me, I live near Hollywood. I've seen it. It's all real. The pretentiousness and fakeness of it all is legit. And yes, there is a Starbucks on every corner, especially in the early 2000s when Starbucks was multiplying everywhere. That joke was just, they landed it perfectly. But they also have the O.J. Chase reference, which was a huge part of the LA culture at the time. It was very fresh. Even 10 years out, it was still fresh in people's minds. And then you have A Faraway Idol, of course, added to the DVD release of Shrek 2 with Simon Cowell. I mean, Simon Cowell being in the Shrek force, that's pretty cringy, I won't lie. That is cringe, but I love it. And that's what makes Shrek Shrek, is those real-world parodies. If Shrek just went for a flat, realistic fantasy like Skyrim, I don't think we would like it as much. I think the fact that it is, you know, it takes those elements of fantasy, you know, like from something like The Elder Scrolls or Lord of the Rings, and the fact that it puts it in a blender with modern culture, pop culture, and yes, meme culture, and mixes it together, I think that's why we like Shrek so much. So it is a little bit of a shame that it's starting to sound like we're not going to spend a whole movie in Far, Far Away, but at the same time, I understand what this film is accomplishing. And to be fair, we did get a darker, more fantasy in line with traditional fantasy work movie for Shrek, and that was Forever After. Forever After is gorgeous. It is a film definitely inspired by classic fantasy. It's gothic, it's scary, it's dark, it's a freaky film. The more I watch it, the more it kind of begins to start dethroning Shrek 2 as the top Shrek film. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm starting to understand the genius of Forever After. That movie is chef's kiss. But anyways, it was scary, it was dark, and it was much more in line with traditional fantasy. It didn't have as much humor and pop culture as the previous Shrek films. The reality is, while today it's remembered as a modern cult classic, that's just it, cult classic. It didn't connect with mainstream audiences, and that's the most recent Shrek movie. So even though there's 15 years separating it, I think a lot of Hollywood people are going to look at that and go, oh, well, the general public didn't like the scary Shrek movie. We need to make Shrek more lighthearted, more fun, more in line with Despicable Me. That's not to say the spin-offs can't be, because Puss in Boots 2 was pretty dark. And I am a believer in the Donkey movie. I really am. I believe the Donkey film is going to be amazing. And for me now, I think the Donkey film will be better than Shrek 5 because it won't have all the limitations of Shrek 5. I mean, in Universal's ideal world, by the time the Donkey movie comes out, Shrek 5 will have already broken $1 billion and brought Shrek back into the mainstream public eye. Everyone's going to Universal Studios to ride the new Shrek ride, you know, so now they can really focus on smaller films that could be a little bit darker. But yeah, I do think this leak is real. And yes, to answer the video's question, I think Shrek 5 is going to be cringe. But that's okay, because Shrek's a little cringe, and we love when Shrek is cringe. I do think the movie should have a sense of humor. Well, what is it going to look like? What's this human world going to look like? Well, is it going to look like that Simpsons episode where Homer is walking around the human world? I saw a few memes about that. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be like CG imposed on live action. I think it will be a stylized world that kind of looks like all of the other Illumination animated movies, because, you know, this movie is being produced by Chris Melendry, the Illumination CEO, so there is going to be a sizable Illumination influence on the film. And, you know, just maybe maybe setting up a little Shrek versus Gru, planting the seeds there for a Shrek Despicable Me crossover. The Shrek versus Gru movie gonna happen? I think in Universal's mind, yes, I think they would love to see that happen. I mean, Shrek going into the real world, anything could happen. Shrek could meet Megamind, right? You could have a Shrek versus Megamind. You could go any two ways about that. Shrek could go in a theater and see Shrek. Human world Shrek travels to is set in 2001, then Shrek could see Shrek on the big screen. That's pretty interesting. I do think the fact that those memes used Shrek's older model is really important. I think that's part of it. And that Shrek will comment on himself. So, yeah, let me know what you think about this alleged plot leak. I am not doom and gloom, as some people are. I'm holding out my hopes, because we haven't seen a real trailer. We've only seen a teaser trailer, and this is all just hearsay. It could all be fake. We could totally be wasting our time right now. Watch the final film have nothing to do with this. But I think it will, because this isn't so much as a big leak as it is just connecting the dots that are already there. Because this is something that I can kind of see. I totally see. So that's all I got. That's my side of the discussion. I think there is truth to this. I think Shrek's going to the human world. It'll be memey, it'll be cringy, but it'll still be really good. And people will laugh. And I think it'll be a solid comedy. It won't hit those highs that Forever After does. But that's okay, because this is a fresh start for the franchise. And it's trying something different. So we'll have to just wait and see. But you know, I'll be there and you'll be there on opening day as we count down what feels like the longest movie countdown of all lifetimes. Seriously. So that's all I got for today. Enough of me rambling. I want to hear from you down below. And as always, have a happily ever after.